Sorry about that. Or am I? Welcome back, everyone. Craig and Jonah here today. How are you today, Jonah?
Doing pretty good. Yesterday, I took my daughter fishing, and I was thinking on the way that with each of your kids, they never get the same parent, like because you evolve over time as far as what you think. So, like when our older kids were around that age, just before they started school, our youngest is 4 years old. Um, there's a lot of times where I would have went fishing just by myself, like because I would have just taken the boat with me to work and just gone from there. Because by the time that I get home and pick them up, you burn an hour and a half or whatever. But I just had the thought, I was like, well, I'm going to have a lot of time to fish by myself, so I'll just go home and pick her up. And we had a great time. And
Good for you.
yeah, it's just something. Your perspective changes. I mean, I don't know. There's just something, it's really good, valuable time. And with 4 kids, it's difficult to give each kid the attention that they need on an individual level. And so this is just a chance to do that.
Did a mysterious man on shore tell you to throw the net one more time and you caught 153?
Nope, we caught tons of fish. So
okay,
it was a good day.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bad father when it comes to fishing. I don't know. I don't have a good boat that I like to use, and it's just, I don't know. It seems like my time is so limited. But usually the boys will harass me long enough, and eventually we'll go.
If you just buy a really expensive boat, then you have to use it.
Yeah,
it justifies its use.
I was joking about that with my wife.
They love joking about that.
Yeah. Rookie mistake. Yeah. So I got my wife, her Mother's Day gift wasn't ready on Mother's Day.
Oh man. Was it good?
It hasn't come yet. It comes tomorrow. And
on Amazon or what?
No. Well, of course, anytime something comes in the mail, Amazon ahead of time, she's like what'd you get there? I'm like, that's none of your concern. And I says, well, your Mother's Day gift won't be here before Mother's Day. I hope that's okay. I got her a bunch of flowers and stuff, and my oldest son got her flowers and whatever, so she'll have to be okay with it. When I went to get flowers for my mom, because it was her birthday and Mother's Day, it's a flower shop in town, and we're looking at it, and she was asking which ones I want. I said, well, whatever we get, the ones that we get from my wife have to be bigger and better. And we did.
Well, that's good. They can fulfill that request, huh?
Yeah. She was more than happy to take more of my money.
Yeah.
But so brought flowers home, and so I'm getting my wife. So in our house, we tend to get gifts that we like ourselves in a weird way. I think last year my wife got me a power washer.
Okay.
Because she really wanted me to power wash some stuff. But anyway.
It's very thoughtful of her.
Yeah. So our grill has been, we do a lot of grilling, and our grill has been, the igniters don't work and stuff like that. It needs to be rebuilt. So I got a nice Traeger propane grill. Sorry, guys, for those of you that are real snobs about the pellets and all that. We don't have time to screw around with pellets in our house. We just want to flip the burner, and we want to have heat.
Yeah.
So I got a nice Traeger flat top thing. It's gonna be great. And it was either I take it home and assemble it, or it was free assembly and delivery. But I'm like, it's fine.
You can wait for it.
I'm not. Yeah. One thing I've learned as I got older is if other people can do that for you, let them do that.
For sure.
Otherwise, I would have spent all Saturday trying to put it together and probably would have done it wrong. So,
while your wife needs help.
Yeah, that's right. So, anyway, I was like, I said, I'm really looking forward to your Mother's Day gift. She's like, what'd you guys say? A new boat. Which she knew wasn't true. She's like, you got me a grill, didn't you? I'm like,
how does she know?
She just knows.
Well, that's really bizarre.
It's hard to surprise that woman.
we married the same woman though. My wife is the same way. It's like I don't even know how you know that.
And she cares a lot. She spends a lot of time to figure it out. I'm just like, why do you she usually figures out her Christmas gifts.
Wow.
And then she likes to tell you, like she guesses. I'm like, well, why do you do this to yourself? What you just took all the fun out of it.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I don't even think about it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So anyway, I'll let you know. I mean, I know she'll like it. Makes me a little mad that she figured it out. But
did you give her any clues? I don't know how she figured that out.
We had been talking about the grill was on its last legs. We bought a decent grill, but not a really good grill, and that'll be the last time I do that. Because the really good grills have like 10-year warranties.
Wow.
So we'll see.
Well, you'll put it to the test.
Oh yeah, we'll be cooking all meals, all morning, evening, and night on this thing. But
all right.
So I gotta get the flowers. You gotta get something like that.
I got my wife a lilac bush or a couple of them. She wanted those. So
yeah.
And we got her some other things too. But the kids made her things at school, and they were really nice.
Yep. So now I'm good until our anniversary in August, and that sucker always sneaks up on me. So I should really start planning ahead.
Our anniversary's in August too.
Yeah. I think the one year I had my assistant figure it out for me and keep me on task. Otherwise, I'm like running. So I don't even have time for Amazon. I gotta like go around and find something.
Yeah, my wife is usually the one that forgets the anniversary.
Wow.
So yeah.
So yeah, that would be a nice problem to
have. Yeah,
So anyway, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I think her parents are divorced, so I think anniversaries weren't very important in their family. So I think she's just less concerned with it.
So. But if she was to forget, she would be much more forgiving.
Oh yeah,
of it than the other way around. So
yeah.
So anyway, well, we were debating before we got started because there wasn't any. We debated on playing some of the ladies' most recent podcast, which was about whether you should whether you should have sex after a fight, which I don't know sounds
or fight after having sex.
During, I don't know. I mean, why be so limiting?
Yeah.
I didn't listen to that. We were kind of reading the first few minutes. I was like, I'm not really all that into this. So
yeah, I mean, it's nice if you can. There are times where I have been upset enough that I was not interested. Craig, you don't suffer from that?
I've been angry enough where I wouldn't, but
for 30 minutes
with NFP, it's never on the table anyway. So
you might as well just fight.
Yeah. It's the one thing if I've learned in the last couple of years is take advantage of the times when you can't do anything and just fight it out.
That's when you have the conversation.
Try.
And she's ovulating during that time, or possibly, and that makes arguments go easier. I mean, she's generally in a better mood, but then you can make her mad while she's in a good mood. So
yeah,
tough to say, but you got to plan things carefully.
Yeah,
but you definitely don't want to fight during the green light time.
Yeah. Well, and see, that's always been my. If I have one major, let's call it an observation of the church's teaching on this stuff at NFP, is it adds a dynamic to marriage where I think for guys especially, you are very careful about fighting things out when sex is on the line, when it's only available under certain limited circumstances, and the alternatives put you in hell. And so it does really, I think, permit conflict to go unresolved. At least that was our experience.
I can see that.
That because, I mean, it takes two to tango, and if you make your wife mad enough, so if there's one thing I could go back and do over again, I would confront and try to resolve conflicts when they happen rather than waiting for the waters to calm and then just kind of move on, and then it flares up again, and then it flares up again, and then it flares up again.
Mhm.
That's one major mistake I think that we made.
Yeah.
And still continue to make to some degree.
I think that is a common situation.
Yeah. And that's probably not just NFP,
Yeah, it's not just NFP couples.
but I think it hits us a little harder than maybe other couples who have a little more opportunities to come together when things eventually, hopefully, do calm down again.
Mhm.
So, I don't know.
That's our analysis of that, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah.
Do it when you can.
Yeah. Fight it out. And I think,
And most of the time, the arguments aren't really even worth. And that's part of the problem too with NFP. Like you said, how you don't want to bring up the problem, but a lot of times the problems are just silly. But it leads to they can really blow up.
yeah. Well, yeah. And the other side of the coin is men and women's minds just work very differently when it comes to this kind of stuff. So you have to. It also took a long time, and I'm still in training how to figure out how my wife's mind works relative to mine.
I was married for at least 10 years before I realized that she thinks completely differently than I do.
Yeah. I don't know why that is, but that seems to be pretty universal.
There really should be training on that because there's just a lot of things like the level of dirtiness in the home, or like if something is dirty, her threshold is much different than mine. Or just when to pick up things, or when things should be done, or when we need to do something, that means I need to do something. Like there's a lot of training that could go on that could really help people.
And you need to do it right now.
Yes. Like, yes. When she says when you get around to it, that means right now.
Yeah.
The sooner the better.
Yeah. When you finish this next breath you take, go ahead and get to that, buddy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's a pretty common phenomenon in marriages, Catholic and non-Catholic, I'm sure, but it does play out. I think there are unique dynamics within a Catholic marriage where it plays out differently than maybe other couples.
That's where I'm actually interested in, like, how gay marriage works, as far as like maybe they understand each other. But I mean, I think lesbian couples have the highest rate of divorce. So I'm not sure what that says, but
I've heard they have the higher rate of physical satisfaction too.
Well, they get that too. So
they know how to, I don't know, they
make it work.
Yeah.
Not just closing their eyes and hoping for the best.
Nope. There's some strategy and knowledge involved that most of us just stumble our way through.
Yep.
But I wonder. I don't know what the divorce rate is for quote unquote gay married or gay men, but
I don't know. I think it goes. Gay men have the lowest rate of divorce, then it's straight couples, and then lesbian couples have the highest rate. I should fact check that, but I'm pretty sure I saw that on Twitter at least, which means it must be real.
I think men are less complicated. We have simpler, well-defined needs.
Yeah, and more straightforward, at least to me. I mean, I don't, like I said, my wife and I have completely different ways of thinking. So
yeah, that's interesting. Wonder why that is. Are you looking for
yeah, I'm looking for the stats.
Divorce rates. I know we're not allowed to say divorce because they're not married, but
okay, whatever union they got. Oh, my internet is really slow.
Sorry,
not gonna work. So
I caught some major heck on Twitter the other day. So what's new, right?
What were you talking about this time? I haven't been on Twitter much.
Someone, a Catholic posted a picture of Pete Buttigieg.
Yep.
I don't know.
Buttigieg.
Yeah. And his quote unquote husband and I think one of their daughters. I think it was the daughter's birthday or something like that, and nice everyone is smiling, having a good time, and someone posted like, "What is your first thought when you see this?" And of course, it's supposed to be moral repulsion and all that.
Mhm.
And I said, "They seem happy." That apparently is not allowed.
Oh, you got in trouble for
A
that?
good Catholic is not allowed to say they seem happy.
Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh! And of course, all my other stuff gets posted again. But I'm just like, what do you want? You want me to lie? I mean, just look at them. They look
That's so funny.
well. They're
Well, you know how to stir the pot. Did you know that was going to cause that reaction, or you just
Oh, yeah.
react? Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
I know the crowd. But these, it's like, really, is this they yeah, I don't have to approve of their relationship or the circumstances around because it was a surrogacy and stuff like that. But
Oh, so there's a lot of different factors that the trads.
they just can't. Yeah, I'm just like, okay, what are you gonna do about it now? We're gonna take this beautiful child away from
Yeah.
the only parent she's ever known, and but they just can't separate. They cannot separate the moral beliefs from. I mean, it just it filters and affects the perception of all reality, which
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe that's what we're supposed to do as Catholics is just filter all reality through that. But I don't think you have to do that. I don't think. I mean,
I know that I've got enough of my own problems that I don't need to worry about what anybody else is doing. I got to focus on me and my
yeah.
family.
You'd rather have the child be orphaned and stuff? I mean, again,
Be careful what you ask from those guys. You know, like,
they
they might
will say that. I'm like, listen to yourself for a second, guys.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're taking care of the child and all that. So I've got the stats here.
Okay, go ahead.
Some studies have found that lesbian couples are 2.67 times more likely to divorce than heterosexual couples. And then it does say that gay men also are the least likely to divorce.
Go gay men.
Yeah, their divorce rate is 15%.
Wow.
So,
huh.
And this is research in the Netherlands, which I don't know if that impacts much, but they found a rate of 18% for heterosexual couples, and they did not list the lesbian couples. But anyways,
18% for heterosexual.
That's what in the Netherlands. I don't know.
I wonder if
that's there's so few people getting married. The ones that get married want to stay together. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what it is. But even then,
in Denmark here. Oh, this is Denmark. The divorce rate for gay couples was 17% compared to 46% for straight couples. That seems a little more closer to at least what we have. Around.
So 17% for gay men.
Yep, 46% for straight, and then I don't know. It was from a different study that said it was 2.67 times more likely for lesbian couples.
Huh. I wonder what the common denominator is here.
I don't know. I think a lot of it comes down to communication style. I think because there's just times where I truly don't understand my wife, or like
I don't think she understands herself either.
If like that's where Google Glasses or like some of this recording technology be really handy because the other day we got in an argument because she had told me, I can't even remember what it was about, but she told me explicitly, she's like, oh, okay, you can do this. And it wasn't even like in a way, it had to do with like moving money from one bank account to the other. And she's like, okay, you can do that. And then I did that. And she's like, I never said that. Oh. And I was like, I don't know how to prove this, but I wish I could. And then I did eventually, we talked about enough that she did say, oh yeah, I did say that. So,
wow.
But
it's my wife and I text a lot.
Then there's you got proof.
There's a paper trail. Yeah. But I tell you, when she looks at you and says it didn't happen,
just like
it's
deer in the headlights.
Yeah,
like,
it's really hard to be like, wait, I'm pretty sure I was born, and I'm pretty sure I'm married to you. But you know what? Anything's possible.
There are times where I'm like questioning myself.
Yeah,
yeah. Like, did this happen? Did it not happen? I don't know.
Yeah, because they can disagree with you with such conviction.
Like there, she's like, I never said that. It's like just flashing back through my mind. Like, I'm pretty sure. But anyways,
I'm very curious about the dynamics inside a gay household now.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe get
interesting.
Pete on the show.
Get who?
Pete.
Pete. Yeah, that's boy. That would get the.
Would that be something?
That would be a line. That would be a line too far or whatever.
And I would have no problem talking to Pete and be respectful. And I mean, I don't honestly, what people want to do. We live in a free country for one thing, so I'm not too concerned about other people do.
It reminds me when I was in the seminary years ago, when I was still more or less a trad. One of our college professors, and this was a Catholic university. It was, I would say, much less common then, but it was a Catholic university, and one of our college professors came out as gay, and then there was no civil unions back then, but he was in a pretty committed relationship, and I thought, I need to understand these people. They're God's people too, and so we actually went out. I remember we went out to like a China buffet, and I was just genuinely just trying to. He's just a normal guy.
Yeah,
he grew up not Catholic. He grew up. What did he say? Some, I would say, non-evangelical Protestant, and he said, and he just kind of walked me through the process where he realized this is who he was and how he came to grips with that and how it was approaching his family. And I mean, you could tell it was still difficult for him because he was kind of an outcast, but there was absolute sincerity in his, and I think they were trying to, maybe they had adopted or they were trying to adopt, and it was much more difficult back then. And I know that supposedly as Catholics we're supposed to oppose adoption by gay couples, and I guess if that's what we're supposed to say, fine, or believe. But I think, I don't know. I really struggle with the idea. I mean, because there's something special about raising a child, and I think they just have this idea that these people are just complete,
yeah, that they're not people almost. Is
the way they're just living some frat house lifestyle at home. I mean, we all carry on intimate relationships in our home, and
hopefully,
yeah, and I don't want to say hide it from our kids. My wife was very. It's very important that we hide it from our kids.
What was that thing that you had on Twitter about how we something about gay? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the people that expect gay couples, or the people that don't believe that a gay couple could live in the same house without being sexually intimate, are the same people that expect married people to do it all the time.
Man, was that a good tweet? It is true. It is true.
Either they can or they can't. Either we can or we can't. But it's just so interesting. They just can't conceive that a gay couple could live a chaste relationship together. And I get why it would be difficult, but it'd be far easier to have separate parts of the house or separate bedrooms than those of us who are married and sharing a bed, occasionally sharing it for fun stuff, and we can't just live separate lives when you have kids, right? So but it is interesting. They just cannot conceive, like I said, that a gay couple living in the same house, even if they're not chaste in the Catholic standpoint, they just can't envision that they're not. It's not just pervading the house.
So irregular compared to
like, I mean, is it possible? I guess, but I think that's making assumptions that are not really grounded. I mean, are gay couples more likely to encourage their kids or adopted kids to become gay? I don't know. I mean, they might be. I mean, they're probably much more like, be who you are, follow your path, and all that. They're not going to send them to counseling or whatever, but I don't know. I mean, I think they can live normal lives too and raise their kids. I mean, I think, and they'll say, well, It's best for kids to grow up with a mom and dad. Yeah, I agree with that, but a lot of people don't grow up that way. And we don't take children away from single moms or divorced parents and stuff like that. I mean,
Hmm.
you make the best of the situation, but I mean, if you have two people that are like each other, enjoy each other, love each other, whether or not they're being chased to the bedroom or not, I don't know that means they can't be good parents and can't raise children to be good, good happy people. I don't know.
And is it like better for the child to grow up in a home that is stable and loving versus maybe a chaotic household where
Oh.
the parents are upset?
Yeah, just because mom and dad are married doesn't mean that house is, a good environment to raise kids.
That's true too.
Yeah, it's just like I think that's the idea. They think, well, as long as mom and dad aren't committing violations of the sixth or seventh commandment regularly, they're somehow whatever else is going on there,
Hmm.
no matter how much dysfunction, it has to be better than that. I mean, if the only thing you base life on is whether people follow all the sexual rules or not. I mean, I guess so, but they're just kind of obsessed with it.
Hmm.
It really is.
More
It
than we
really,
are.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I like to think we're a little more diplomatic about it,
Hmm.
but yeah. So that,
So then, along the same lines, this weekend we went to an art exhibit, and it was really nice. But then we got to this one corner where there all of a sudden you go into this little room and there's a quote on the wall about the artist must have been transsexual, and it was about the person had made like drawings of Jesus, and it was all very like biblical. And there's a quote on the wall about how I can't remember what it dealt with, but being transsexual and God loves them and that sort of thing. And so you get in there, and we have the kids with,
Mm.
you know, and everybody can read except for one. And so it's like, oh,
Move along, move along.
no, we like, Dolores is very, she doesn't want to hide anything from people, the kids.
Mm.
So they ever looked, and we just went outside, and Dolores is like, is there anything you guys want to talk about? Any questions? Nobody had any questions, so we moved on. And I mean, I don't know what the right thing is, because there are some trads who would say, "Oh, we should have removed our kids from the environment." But there was pictures of Jesus. It was, and the pictures are very reverent. It wasn't anything.
Mm.
It was just somebody
Mm.
that I think was looking for acceptance from God. And so, I mean,
The horror.
yeah. So I don't know. I know that there are some people that be horrified that we took our kids to see that, and we didn't know that was gonna be there. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I, I don't know
And I
what
don't know
the
if we should
answer.
have discussed it with them, but obviously we didn't. So
Yeah.
they didn't ask. So
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it is, it things have changed a lot since you and I were kids on this stuff,
absolutely.
and
And our kids are pretty sheltered,
yeah,
but
yeah,
there's a time where you unshelter them as well, to certain degrees before they leave the house.
yeah. Our oldest daughter is in college at a state university, and she got like, I mean, I wouldn't say she was super sheltered, but sheltered by, I would say, most people's standards. And she went there, and immediately there was entire floors for um transgender. I think they had the whole litter boxes and stuff like that for kids. And
No way.
oh yeah, like it's
Are you serious? The litter boxes?
mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think this particular university has more of that than other
Wow.
places.
I had no idea that was real.
Yeah, college level. I mean, I've been up there. I'm going up on Friday to pick her up.
So have you seen the litter boxes?
No, but I've seen the folks that stroll the halls, and it's pretty obvious what's going on.
Wow. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
Huh, all right.
And
So, I mean, the reality is, I mean, what are the chances, as far as your job prospects when you graduate?
Yeah,
Maybe you're going to be self-employed. I don't know.
I mean, legally you're not supposed to discriminate, I don't think, but
Against the litter box users?
yeah, I mean, I just think you're certainly see this
Well, wide-ranging topics today.
yeah, it's kind of like going back to the beauty judge. It, I mean, I don't know that. I mean, other than they're together, I don't know that you would look at them and necessarily think that they're gay men.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, it's pretty obvious. They're just the way they dress.
But yeah, Pete, I mean, he just looks like a normal guy.
Just looks like a normal guy. His partner looks like a normal guy. His partner, I would say, looks like a little more of a feminine guy, but
I haven't seen a picture of him. So
yeah, I mean, but there are definitely some, I would say, more disturbing one, and this is probably what people think of, is like this, these folks with these really gaudy makeup and long fingernails going into the hospital to pick up their surrogate baby. And I mean, I have my own trepidations about that, because to me, I'm not sure that child is going to get raised in what I would say is I don't know if normal is the right word, but a decent, well-balanced household.
And it's difficult to judge somebody based on a photo.
Yeah, I mean, so again, I think what it does is it draws too many negative conclusions about what goes on in those households, and I think it overlooks just the realities of most normal households, good households.
Like, that's true.
It's a lot of trench warfare in Catholic homes too.
Yeah. Boy, that's for sure.
And
duck in all the time.
Yeah, so I think maybe we ought to just, I don't know, focus on our
own families.
Yeah, planking our own eye.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be really interesting to dig a little deeper into the dynamics, because I suspect, gay, straight notwithstanding, there are some definite commonalities of male behavior, male thinking, that sort of goes across party lines.
I would think so.
That impacts these households as well. And I wonder what it is actually like in the household of a gay male couple, and a gay, a lesbian couple.
I don't know, but that would be insightful, I think. I mean, it might help me understand women more to a degree too.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
I don't see, when you talk about the kind of stuff that we talk about, you get some very interesting suggested videos in your YouTube feed. And I don't know if you sent me this one or how I came across it, but it was a woman. It was a couple.
There's a lesbian video. It's definitely coming from me. Just kidding. Sorry,
that probably is true.
I could hold back. But
we will not be deleting that out. So it was a couple, never had kids. I think they'd been married for a while. I feel like they were maybe in Europe or something like that. And I think they got to their late 30s or early 40s, and she decided she kind of wanted to be a mom, and he was like, no. And I think they were close to divorcing over it. And then what they decided to do instead was to open up their marriage.
Oh, yeah.
And she apparently has a book about it.
You sent it to me.
It must have shown up my feed, and I sent it to you.
Yep, you did.
Okay. And she was talking, but yet so what they would do is they would have an open relationship during the week, and then they would come back together and live as married couples on the weekends, which, boy, that's
I don't know.
I don't know how you thread that.
The whole thing made me really uncomfortable. I just can't imagine doing that.
Mhm.
and having it work, and it didn't work for them. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I don't remember if they ended up getting back to. I didn't watch the whole
No,
video.
I watched the whole thing.
They divorced.
She left her. She got mad because her husband showed affection for another woman, and then she left him, and she ended up remarrying, or at least living with the most serious guy that she was with during that time. And she said that he's a lot happier now too with his new wife or whatever. So I don't know. We're not advocating for that, for goodness sakes. I know the comments we get below are just like so thorny sometimes. Like last week's video, man, there was a guy just pounding on us about, I can't remember what it was, but that really makes me question even talking about this stuff. But it's important, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
all I'll say is that Jesus didn't didn't threaten people as far as like with them going to hell, or that, not many people. The Pharisees are among that group, and
Well, it's
there are some behavioral things as far as you shouldn't look at another woman with lust. I mean, that was one thing clearly, or say something negative about somebody.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, it kind of going along the lines with the Pete controversy is one of the themes that came out of that was the trads were like, well, we know that lifestyle is disordered, and therefore, by definition, they have to be less happy people. And I'm like,
that's not a conclusion that I would come to.
I don't think
automatically.
that's true. Like, I don't think you get to say, well, because morally we have the right, we know with confidence that on an earthly level their life is worse too. Like, I don't think you could. And one of the things I said, I think I was when I was live streaming with Midnight the other day, I said, I think you lose people when you assert in like kind of dogmatic terms, if you live an immoral life from Catholic standards, which, it doesn't necessarily mean a real real sinful life, in my opinion. Or,
yeah, I mean, there's only so many people that can live on the precipice.
Yeah, right.
Everybody lives off to the sides in varying degrees.
Yeah. They'll assert that if you're not doing all of the Catholic things because you are introducing sin and disorder into your life, by definition, your marriage is not going to be as good. You're not going to be as happy. And I'm like, I don't know that that's actually accurate. I don't think we're required to believe that as Catholics. No, you can still say your soul is all that matters. So even if your life seems to get better on this life, you need to focus on eternity. I'm fine with that. And I think, but they can't help themselves. And they're saying, well, obviously Pete and his husband are completely miserable people at home, and they're creating a child is miserable. I'm like, well, look at the child. The child looks fine.
Or what if they're like every other married couple and they stop having sex?
Yeah, right.
Like, I mean,
Right.
what if they are living as brothers?
That's
like,
right.
is there anything wrong with that?
Well, they'll say, number one, it's impossible.
I've lived a marriage where it's possible.
Yeah, that's just it. That's just it. Like, so I think that's a real problem, and you see some of these couples that, let's say, have kind of train wreck marriages. Maybe it wasn't always that way, but that's how it ends. And then they go on and they find someone else and they're deeply happy. Now, I know the divorce rate goes up each time you get married, but there are people that find happiness in, I get, the indissolubility of marriage and all that there, but
then they would say, like with annulment, through the annulment process, that they were never married in the first place.
Yeah, I just all I want to say is there's not an obvious direct correlation between the morality of your life and how happy you are, both from the standpoint, I don't think living a quote unquote immoral life from a Catholic perspective means you're going to, be miserable and unhappy, nor do I think living the Catholic life ensures that you're going to have a loving, calm home.
Yeah. And I would say that when you get to the extremes of that, obviously is where it falls apart. Like where you have like that one there's a couple OnlyFans girls where they try to have sex with 1,000 guys in a day. I mean, they look pretty rough. Like they're not happy.
Yeah.
Or, when you do drugs or, commit crimes. But
I think if you're just normal, everyday people trying to
Trying to
like
do your best.
do your best, raise your kids, pay bills, get your kids to practice, you know,
And just care for others.
pick a grill,
However
stuff
that
like
looks.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. um, I think for the most part, most of us are just trying to do our best, and this is where I think people, I don't know, get too hung up on sort of the bedroom intricacies.
It's true. I mean, and maybe it's much more complex than this, but I kind of think the way that I want to live is to just like live a happy, loving life that makes others want to live like that too.
Mhm.
And that's, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think God is a central part of that, where
Mhm.
you have to communicate with God all the time
Mhm.
and thank God for everything that there is, that you have and around you. And
Yeah.
I don't know, but maybe I simplify things too much.
Well, one of the folks in our Discord chat, or maybe it was our Twitter chat, made the observation. I can relate to that. He's like, back when what do you say? There was a time when I was in love with the church and all the different things that the church offered, because I saw some of these things as, I don't say being optional, but available to us if we want. And then once I started to realize that it's all mandatory, like, or go to hell, then it just changes the dynamic of it. It takes something that I think the church can present herself as a true gift and a refuge for the world, and then it becomes so oppressive to some people. It feels so oppressive that people are like, I don't want anything to do with this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's unfortunate, because it doesn't need I mean, it wouldn't need to be that way.
Mm-hmm.
But in the kind of the legalism that flows from, I would say, conservative or traditional Catholicism, that tends to be how it comes across. And that's just,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I get why people are put off by that and maybe decide either not to join the church, or if they're fortunate enough or unfortunate enough to learn about all the rules. I think a lot of people come into the church blissfully unaware
Mm-hmm.
of all of the Christopher West standards that they have to follow, and they're like, and then they get in, they're like, what?
So I wonder, like, with the Pete thing, like, do you
Mhm.
think that they would consider like living a homosexual lifestyle to be the biggest sin that can be
Mhm.
committed? Because it basically bars them from everything.
Oh yeah,
Like, I mean, they could have. It'd be far easier for a murderer or somebody else to come to full graces with, I think, the trads than maybe Pete.
yeah. So, I mean, I think most of them, number one, don't want them to be priests, don't want them to have children, don't want them even to share a house with someone, even in a chaste way. I mean, so, I mean, just think about what you're like asking someone to do, to live a pretty lonely life, and removing any option of choice for them.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me, at a bare minimum, we ought to be okay with the idea that they can have companionship and someone, especially as you get older, someone to care for, someone to
Mm-hmm.
care for you. When you're recovering from surgery and stuff like that
Yeah,
happens,
there's should be definite legal rights.
I mean, I don't understand the harm in that.
Mm-hmm.
Nor do I necessarily see the harm in them having the joy of raising up a child, and a child being raised by parents that deeply love them and want
Mm-hmm.
them.
Especially like through the adoption process where they need a home anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in the ideal world, every couple would be blissfully married and never get divorced, and children would be, but that's just not how it works, right? And I don't know. That I think we can, I think there's a way for us as Catholics to be um open to these things without just surrendering
Mm-hmm.
the whole field, right? I think we can maintain our core principles without just saying, sorry, get used to living completely lonely for the rest of your life.
And it's not like telling Pete and his partner that they're going to hell is really going to bring them closer to God. Like, I'm sorry, but I just don't see how that's going to be effective.
Yeah. I think that's meant much more for those that feel that way than it is for the people we're supposedly trying to convert. It's just, there's that element of self-righteousness that we like to fill. I think all of us, probably ourselves included, but yeah, I don't know. I would love to interview, especially a quote unquote committed or trying to commit gay couple, try to follow the Catholic, moral expectations, but to do that with that, I think would be really interesting.
Yeah. Anybody out there?
Yeah. Especially the women. I'm really curious about the female dynamic.
I'm sure you are, buddy.
I have so many questions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you know anyone or if you're watching, reach out to us. There's always an email in the description below.
Definitely.
So, hey, because we rambled on long enough about Pete, we don't have to listen to Christopher West today. So
I had no idea we'd be going here today.
No,
we did.
This is better. This is better than listening to Christopher West.
Maybe next week.
Yeah, maybe next week. He was. There wasn't anything too spicy this week on the Christopher West or the Ellen's podcast that I thought. So maybe next week.
Sounds good.
Let us know what you think. Even you, John. Go ahead and
John, you can berate us.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're not going to like this one.
No, I'm sure you're not. And if God doesn't like it, mea culpa. But
I don't know. We just love everybody.
Yeah.
Just be patient. I mean, I don't know.
As you said, I've got enough of my own crap to try and fix. I don't spend a lot of time, worrying, chastising other people or berating them into how they should live when I got too many planks in my own eyes.
I got to work on my own marriage first.
Yeah.
Before it becomes a true example of what it should be like.
I think we'd all be better off if we could just take that approach a little more, maybe. So, all right.
All right.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Pete.
Yep. And just remember, all of us need to trust in God's mercy because that's all that we really have in the end.
Amen.
All right.
Thanks, Jonah.
You bet.
Till next time, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good one.